Alright, what is going on, everybody? My name is Landon. Thank you again for watching, and consider subscribing if you like what you see in this video. In this video, I will be showing you how to make your own oil catch can system. Behind me, I have my 2017 Ford F-150. It has a 3.5 liter Ecoboost engine in it. And so first and foremost, what is an oil catch can? Why is it important? Well, on all engines, you're going to have some amount of what is called blowby. Blowby is when, during the combustion process, oil vapor, fuel, a little bit of air gets pushed past your piston rings and down into your crankcase. So the line that the oil catch can is filtering is going to be your PCV. That's positive crankcase ventilation. Because as all those things get pushed into the crankcase, creates positive pressure, that needs somewhere to go. And so it is filtered through, routed through the PCV and back into your intake system to be consumed in the next combustion cycle. So the reason that's a problem is because you're having oil and fuel and sludge that's recirculating back through your engine, and it's just not what you need, it's not what you want. It'll create carbon buildup, it can create valve coking, more on that in just a little bit. And so having an oil catch can here allows you to trap all of that, get nice clean air recirculated back, and have a cleaner, smoother burning engine. So I just mentioned that all engines are susceptible to blowby, and that is true. But some engines, some vehicles are more susceptible to blowby, and there are some that it's a bigger issue for. So in my case here, this is a twin turbo engine. Any of your boosted engines are going to be more susceptible to blowby because instead of like a naturally aspirated engine that's just limited to the atmospheric pressure, it has the added boost pressure on top of it inside the combustion chamber. So that's the added pressure to push through the extra air, oil vapor, fuel, all that past your piston rings. The types of vehicles that it's a bigger issue for, not just more likely to happen, but actually an issue, is going to be engines that are direct injection. And oftentimes, those are also turbocharged vehicles. So it's kind of a double whammy there. The direct injection engines, what those are engines that have a fuel injector that squirts directly into the combustion chamber, as opposed to port injection, which sprays fuel above your intake valves. When it sprays fuel on your intake valves, it's also spraying detergents that are inside the fuel, and it helps to clean them off. So any deposits, carbon buildup, oil sludge, any of that helps to get washed off. With direct injection, you don't have that. And so the only way to actually get that off of your intake valves is if you run some type of engine fogger system that cleans it out, which is fine, you can do that, but why go through the hassle and stress on your engine of letting that build up to clean it off? If you install a catch can, it prevents that from ever even happening to begin with. I wanted to show you a little bit of what I've got going on here. So these are the catch cans I'm going to be using, and I will link everything that I'm going to be using down in the description below. But I already have mounted these up. I have not run any of my hoses or anything like that. And the reason I did too is, first off, they're only like 20 bucks a piece, so why not? But then secondly, I'm going to be going to both sides of the engine here, and I'm going to be going to what is kind of referred to as the dirty side and the clean side, although yeah, it's all pretty dirty right now. But this would be the dirty side, and so it's going to just carry more of the oil vapor and things like that through it than this side over here, but we're doing both of them. And on this side here, we're also going to be installing a check valve, because this area in your intake could have boost pressure, and we don't want any of that running back into the oil catch can. So the check valve will just ensure that everything that we want going into it's going into it, anything we don't want, it's not coming back out. Now if you're following along on your Ecoboost, these are pretty easy to take off. This gray collar just kind of twists to one side a little bit. There's a little tab that you can feel and you can twist, and then it'll just pop off in each direction. And we're going to be reusing these. And the way we'll do that is we'll just heat this plastic tubing up right here until it can slip off of here, and then we're going to put some of our new hose on top of this, and then that way we could make use of the really nice OEM connections. On the driver's side, it is the same, but we're also going to disconnect this little electrical connector here. So this gray tab, just slide it back and then squeeze and pull everything out. And that is because we are going to put our hose here instead of up here, so that we do not mess with any of this right here. So now is the time to go ahead and get our OEM connectors off. And again, I'm going to do that just by heating up this plastic part of the tube. I did remove this connector here just so I don't damage anything while doing it. And so now we'll just put our heat gun on it, get this softened up, and then pull off our connectors. So I got all those off, and this is the hose that I will be replacing the OEM tubing with. And the kit does come with some tubing in it, but it's just really flimsy and it's not enough length for what you need anyway. So this is just some 1/2-inch fuel hose, and this will be perfect for what we're trying to do. So the next thing is we'll go into the kit and we will use the fittings that they gave us, and so we're just going to find the appropriate 1/2-inch fitting, put some O-rings on it, and start getting everything installed. Checking back in, my camera actually died there for a little bit, so I just finished up what I was working on, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what I got done. Alright, so everything is finished and buttoned up. I have all of the hoses run, all the clamps are on, they're tight. I've got my check valve right in there. And so let me pull this cover off and I'll give you a little bit better idea of how I have everything routed. Alright, cover off, and this is what we're looking like. So this is how I have everything routed, and I have a couple of these hoses, at least one for sure, that there's probably a little extra there than what needs to be, but that's fine. That allowed me to route everything really well without interfering on any other components. The engine cover I put on and off several times to make sure that it could still fit on well and that it wasn't rubbing hoses, the hoses weren't in the way of it. And if anything, I might take a little bit out of this one here that the check valve is plugged into, but it's not hurting anything, so I'll probably just leave it alone. But for this side, the dirty side, the way I've got it routed, so here is your in, so everything will come in this way and then out through this one. So the in hose is going to be this one here, so this one comes down, under and up, and then when it comes back out, I go back down, under, and here's my check valve, and it's a one-way, and then it will go right back here into the intake. For the clean side, again, in and out, my in is going to start from right here, and this just kind of drops down, comes up and underneath over here to the in, and then out follows the same way back, and it is going to connect right down here. So I'll throw the engine cover back on and move on to what is the second first day mod of this video for Ecoboost trucks, but stick around till the end because I will be showing you how much oil I collect over the next couple of days of driving the vehicle, just to see how much we collect in a short amount of time. So stick around for that, but we'll go ahead and we'll move into the next item on the to-do list, which is the license plate relocation. On your naturally aspirated engines, this isn't going to be as big of a deal, but if you have the 2.7 or the 3.5 Ecoboost, where the license plate frame is mounted is directly in front of your intercooler, and it takes up 60-70% of the opening, which is madness.
This is blasphemy. This is madness. Madness. This is Sparta!
But we're going to get it moved, we're going to fix it, and just like with the oil catch can, there's no reason to spend over $100 on a relocation frame. I got one for $10 and it will work just as well as anything else. And there's also no reason to drill into your expensive front bumper. We're going to be going into the plastic right here, and if we ever need to replace that, that's a whole lot easier and cheaper to replace than the entire bumper. So let's get into it. So getting started, the factory frame is actually pretty easy to remove. It is basically just barbed clips that kind of hug it, and so to separate this, you're just going to go on each side and kind of pull those little brads open and pull the frame off. So I'll show you how that looks. Let's see. There's one side, and then there's the other. So that is what you're looking at. And so, like I said, these little clips are just going to grab on to these two posts. And so to remove it, you simply just pop it off. So now we'll toss this to the side because we don't need it. And we'll start with our frame. Now the way this kit is, it uses special heads on the screws. So it comes with this little kind of Allen wrench driver that is going to be used for all the screws in the kit. So you don't need to drill anything. It has some self-tappers in here, but you will need to use this to actually drive them in. Okay, now with our mounting holes marked, we are good to go ahead and mount up the frame. And a quick side note of why I picked the passenger side for this. If your truck has adaptive cruise control, the sensor for that is going to be behind this panel on the driver's side. So if you put a license plate in front of that, it's going to render that sensor inoperable. If you don't have it, then I guess it doesn't matter, go either way. But if you do, like I said, don't put it on the driver's side or you will lose that functionality of your adaptive cruise control. Also, I mentioned that the kit, you do not have to drill holes. It has those self-tappers. However, I am going to drill a small pilot hole for myself just to make it a little bit easier. But theoretically, you could do it without. All right, now we've got screw and washer loaded up, so we'll get one side started here. So I took a closer look at the screw here and I realized it's just a star bit, which I have plenty of. So again, same thing, you can just go ahead and use the tools that they give you, but I'm going to go ahead and use a drill for this part to make it easier on myself. And you're mounting plastic to plastic, so there's really no reason to completely hulk out on this thing. It's on there and it's a little flimsy this way, but I think once I get my license plate on there, it will kind of help add some rigidity to it. So that will handle it for the plate relocation, but I will go ahead and pass it off to future me to be able to show you how the catch cans are working out. Okay everybody, so it's been about 2 days. Just kidding, it's been about 6 weeks. But I have driven about 12 to 1,500 miles in that amount of time. And so that's obviously well within an interval that you would need to be changing your oil at, but it should be long enough that we can see, you know, just how much work we're doing with collecting just this gunk and this trash and stuff. So I haven't looked at these yet over that time frame, so this will be my first time seeing what's been collected. So we'll go ahead and do that now. I'll start out by just checking the dipsticks, see how good of a job those are actually doing at letting you know what's going on. And it's just a tiny bit there on the end. Alright, so we'll move on to the actual catch can itself and see what we have accumulated. Not expecting a whole bunch, but I'm curious to see just how much. Okay. So, man, it smells like gas. So yeah, this is just oil, fuel vapor. It's all collected that normally would have been recycled back through and burnt off. And again, if you're direct injection, this is going all over your valves, which you don't want. So now we don't even give it the opportunity, we just catch it before it even gets in there. And so there's the clean side, just for comparison. I knew it would be less, but I was actually expecting a little bit of something. I mean, I'm not necessarily complaining. Everything is plumbed up correctly. I mean, there's a tiny little bit there in the corners, but yeah, this one shouldn't need to be emptied near as often as the other, but still good to do just in case. Okay everybody, so that is going to do it for this one, and if you liked me or this video, I encourage you to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.